So before I did this oil change, I put this Seafoam in the engine. I did it, and then I put about 200 miles on it roughly. This is all you need. Socket wrench, the filter puller to loosen it up if you can't do it by hand. Otherwise, you don't even need that. Buy a filter for $7. Buy the generic oil for about $25. And I always buy a bottle of this too. For this car, most of my other cars I put Lucas motor oil in, but this car I put the Hyperlube. Works really good. And then I put the last half of this into the gas tank because I used the first half of it a couple days ago to run it through the engine. And also just because I had this laying around, I put this in there too. All right, 2007 Ford Focus with 233,000 miles on it. So the oil change on this. Take the cap off on a jack. And I put a jack stand also, just to be safe. All you need is a 13 millimeter socket wrench. This thing's leaking a little bit of oil. So there's the oil pan, obviously. And that's the bolt. It's roughly a 13 millimeter. At least that's what I used at Works. That's it. Next, I'll remove the oil filter. Okay, next step, take off the oil filter now that pan is done dripping. Just a couple drips coming out of it still, but it's no big deal. The pan will still catch it. Usually you can just loosen this up by hand with either a piece of sandpaper if it's too tight and your rag won't undo it. This one's been on there a while, so I will grab these, which always come in handy for me. And that breaks it loose so easily. This part gets messy, so I don't have any rubber gloves. Usually I will, but oh, there we go. It's hotter than fuck too. I didn't let the car cool off. I just got here and started changing it. That's why. There it is. Let that drain and we'll go to the next step. Okay, so in this car, I just used the MicroGuard. It's like probably $7. It ain't gotta be all expensive. It's an old car. This stuff works just fine. I bet you I'll get 300,000 miles out of this car. I'm gonna grab my old filter. Set it right here. I gotta take the plastic off this one. Hold on. Okay, so always make sure this gasket stayed on the old filter and didn't get stuck up there. Then I'll dip my finger in the oil and put that on the new filter and just get it slightly oiled up before I put it on. Okay, wipe that off. Make sure it's a nice clean seal. Put the new one on. It's dark in here right now, sorry. Get that on there nice and snug and tight. Gotta overdo it. That's that. Put the drain bolt back in. Super easy. Tighten that back up. Nice and snug. Now we're ready to add the oil. Okay, so in this car, I Googled it. Always Google it just to be safe, but Ford Focus this year is 4.5 quarts. So I just dumped this whole thing in there and that'll be one. Okay, I didn't have a funnel, so I just used that bottle, cut it, and made a funnel out of it. All I got to do now is add the other 3.5 quarts. And that will be done. Don't forget to dump your oil back in the old container. Back on it. Last step, put on the oil cap, start it up.